This 1990s kitchen needed a big makeover, and while my husband and I have already made huge progress in giving it a facelift, we have a problem. We can't afford to hire contractors to do all the work, and we have to juggle all of our responsibilities while learning to DIY as we go. That's not good. But we're determined to push past the limitations and create a home we love with our own hands. So join me on our journey of making our house a home little by little. Good morning, guys. It's a new day, and
Good morning, guys.
we have the trim around the window. Today I'm going to be caulking all the seams, wood filling, all of that. Yeah, that's really what we're doing today. I have some other areas that I need to caulk. I'm also needing to fix this gap behind this pantry cabinet here. So everything is looking so pretty and nice right now, but it's a work in progress. So I'm not going to do a lot today. Just a few little finishing touches. But yeah, let's get to it. Here we go. I feel like I'm living life on the edge, guys. Quite literally. Look at that. I'm literally living on the edge. One thing about DIY is that you have to be willing to take risks in order to get the job done. It definitely makes the projects a lot more fun. I'm gonna have to get really creative with this because it's hard to see what I'm doing, but I just have to like trust that it's coming out. Oh my gosh, this is so messy. It's all about the stance, I think. That one came out really good. This is good. This came out good. There's just a little more gaps. See, like it's really smooth here, and then there's like a gap. I needed to. Because of how small the spaces in between the window and the cabinets were, I had to practically contort my body just to caulk around the window. I gotta figure out the best way to get this angle. I don't want these wires touching me. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Put it up there. I need like backer rod. I don't know what I was thinking. This may not be the most exciting task, but it's one that makes all the difference when it comes to having a flawless end result. Okay guys, I was trying to caulk behind this piece of trim over here, and of course it's a little higher where the tile is versus where it's just the wall. I don't know if that makes sense, but there's a really big gap, so it's hard to get it caulked properly without all the caulk just going like underneath the trim. So I have some, it's called Caulk Saver. I know it as backer rod. It should help me. Hopefully it's not too thick. I think I really need like that much. So I'm gonna cut it. I also kind of think I should try to slice this in half because this is pretty thick. Let's see, I'm gonna do some surgery. I'm gonna do some surgery on this thing, guys. You have to improvise with DIY. It's one thing I've learned. I think this should be a good size for what I need. I'm just gonna shove it behind here, and then that should really help me to be able to caulk without a big issue. That might be what I need. Yeah, I think that's what I needed. Hopefully this does the trick. Now that I put that backer rod in here, it should hopefully feel a lot better. Okay, there we go. So now I need to caulk the seams between the wood trim and this PVC trim. I already caulked between the wood trim and the walls, so we're good there. Once I caulk in between the wood and PVC trim, we'll go from there. While caulking all of the trim in the kitchen, things started to feel quite repetitive, and I was ready to move on to something more exciting where I could break out the power tools. But I knew that these steps had to be done, and it would be pretty bad if I skipped them. It's the difference between the landlord special and putting actual effort into a project.
With every heartbeat, you're coming closer, coming closer.
I finally finished caulking around the window and the trim where the pantry is. I also need to add some more like trim on the back sides of the cabinets because there's a huge gap between the back of the cabinets and the wall. I went to Lowe's and I got some plastic wood to fill in the seams where the wood meets the wood. And then I got some heavy duty liquid nails because I need to better secure the side of the pantry, like the panel there. My dad had glued it down for us with liquid nails before, but a lot of it is just not adhering very well, so I'm gonna redo that. I'm gonna get started with the wood filling and go from there. I feel like I'm all over the place today, but I think I'm gonna leave the window alone right now, let that dry. I'm gonna hop over to the pantry corner. We need to fill out this gap, and I was gonna get backer rod, like a thicker backer rod than what I have, but apparently they don't sell thicker ones at Lowe's. I don't know if Home Depot does, but I just don't feel like going all the way over there. So I decided I'm just gonna trim it out. So I have this piece of trim that I got from Lowe's. It's just a basic like straight trim. That's really what I want because I don't want anything decorative over here because I am gonna do open shelves here and I'm gonna finish the tile over here. I took the measurements already, so I'm gonna go to the garage and make my cuts that I need. All right guys, here we go. So this piece is for the top part of the cabinet, and then this piece is for the lower cabinet. I think it just died on me. All right, there we go. Are you kidding me? Do you guys see that? This GFCI outlet is horrible. Like, take 3, I think. So 3. Are you kidding me? All right, I'm done. I got my cut, whatever. We're gonna just make do with what we have because this is crazy. Of course, it looks too long. Wonderful. Whatever, I'm over it. We're gonna cover this up. There we go. See? Ah. Ooh, that smells really strong. Yeah, there it goes. See that? Try to get it on both sides. You're gonna... I forgot my clamps. Wonderful. So now I'm just gonna squeeze it together. I need those wipes. Oh, right there. I definitely scraped the ceiling, so we're gonna have to repaint those parts. Yay, so much fun. I think we're good here. I wish I would have gotten a little more just right in here, but that'll have to do. At least it looks a lot better. I need to take off like, it looks like a 3/4 of an inch. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Are you ready?
As ready as I will be.
Are you There it goes again.
This can't be real life. Like, I don't believe it. There we go. Okay, let's go. This better work. I'm not gonna use the nails because I have 2-inch nails and I don't know. Oh, wow. I don't know if, I don't know. I don't know what I know. I just know that I need this to work, and I just know honestly that I'm gonna use the adhesive because I don't want to use the 2-inch nails. There's nothing for these nails to hold on to. You know, you have to think outside the box sometimes. So here I am thinking outside the box.
Let's hope it's not too much outside the box.
Oh, we're about to find out.
Using liquid nails to keep this trim in place turned out to be a great solution, but you'll soon see why this ended up creating more work for me later on in this project.
Disaster, eh?
I don't know about you, but I definitely think there's an art to caulking. And I would know because the previous owners of our home didn't do a very good job at caulking the backsplashes in the bathrooms. But it's totally fine, we'll get to that eventually. In order to install the trim on the bottom cabinet in this corner, I needed to remove the baseboard trim to create a little more space. And of course, hubby came to the rescue because I was stuck using a flimsy putty knife and a mallet that just wasn't going to cut it for this job.
Operation see if I can get it out before hubby gets back. It's It's coming out. There's like a little bit that I got out, but I need it all the way out, so. Oh yeah, that. I need that. Don't put a hole in the wall, please. You just had to come in here and do that all easy, didn't you?
Good.
Thanks.
He's drawn to do that.
Look guys, nostalgia, wallpaper. All right, so now I'm gonna put this trim piece up and I'll cut the baseboard a little bit and then reinstall it. There we go, baby. Okay guys, I went into the garage and trimmed this down just a little bit, so it should fit perfectly, yep.
And just like that, we were done caulking all the seams in this kitchen. Well, at least that's what I thought.
Hi guys, it's a new day and I'm going to prime and paint all of the trim. I'm gonna start with the trim on the pantry cabinet, and then I need to sand like the wood filler around the window trim and then prime and paint that. So let's get started. Good. I don't have any Floetrol or like paint thinner to add to this, so we're gonna have to make do. I don't recall this primer being this thick when I bought it, but I think it should still do the trick, so we're just gonna go for it.
In order to blend the new trim that I installed on these pantry cabinets, I needed to make sure that they were primed, the nail holes were all filled and sanded, and that they were painted to match the cabinets. I made sure to coat the trim in 2 coats of primer and backled up all the nail holes. I want to reiterate how important these steps are. We still have baseboards in our house installed by the previous owners that have unfilled nail holes, and they literally bother me to this day 2 years later. It's really important that you don't skip any steps when installing any kind of trim, and to make sure to cover up any seams or holes. Hey guys, I'm here at Home Depot and I'm just gonna go in and grab some 3-inch screws, and I need 1.5-inch nails for my nail gun. I just want to grab a couple of supplies so that I can actually get some work done today. So yeah, you're gonna come along with me on this journey. This was a quick hardware store run, so I was in and out in a matter of minutes. I grabbed what I needed to get and I was out of there.
Got the goods. Alright guys, I got the 3-inch screws and the 1.5-inch brad nails that I'm gonna need to start the install of the floating shelf. My plan is I'm going to be installing a floating shelf right here. It's gonna be 2 shelves, so I think I'll start the first one like right about here, and then the next one will be about here. And I am also gonna be tiling beneath that first row. I'm going to today just mark my studs, and then I'm also going to be like marking where I'm gonna end the tile so that I'm kind of like prepared for that as well. And yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing right now.
In order to ensure that my shelves were very well secured to the wall and could support a sufficient amount of weight, I needed to attach these brackets to studs in the wall. So I used my stud finder to mark where I would attach my brackets once they were built.
So in order to figure out how high I want my first shelf, I'm just gonna measure from the countertop to the bottom of this cabinet. And I feel like that's gonna be a pretty good indicator of where I can have my shelf start. And then I'll just kind of like play around with it over by the pantry corner and see if it looks good to me. Here we have 18 inches. That's about what I was expecting. So if we have the first shelf at, let's see. Why is this happening right now? Like, seriously. Okay, so if the first shelf is at 18 inches, that'd be like right here. And I feel like that feels a little low. I don't know. I think maybe I'll do like 20 here and then go up to like 32 or 30. We can always play around with that and see how that feels. I'm gonna use some painter's tape to kind of mark where those shelves would be if they were at those measurements. So this would be 18 inches here, and then 20, I think I did 20 inches and then 30 or 32, I can't remember. That seems too close. What do you guys think? That looks too close to me. I don't know. I'm not sure that I like that. Because then I also have to account for the fact that each shelf is going to be about 3 inches thick. And then that's not a lot of space in between. So I'm definitely going to have to move this up maybe to like there.
So I ended up moving my shelf templates, but I still wasn't quite satisfied. Maybe I was overthinking this a little.
I'm like not convinced. In relation to where the top of that cabinet is, it looks like this needs to be moved like down here. So the shelf would be like about here and it's gonna come out. So I'm like, is that gonna look okay? I'm thinking we move the shelf down to here, right? And then that doesn't look so bad. I feel like that looks good. That feels more balanced to me. Like let's pretend. Let's act this out. Oh, let me just put this on my shelf. Like I feel like I'm barely reaching, but then maybe that's how it should be, especially because we're using 2 shelves. So like, oh, I'm gonna put this on my shelf. Oh, let me put my teacup here. Yeah, that feels comfortable. I got this trim. This is just gonna cap off this side, so I'll be able to cut it right there. This trim is kind of giving me like flashbacks to the window trim because that was a whole debacle. You guys remember that in the last video? Oh, look. You've got to be kidding me. I have some leftover tile. I'm gonna have to cut it down at this point because that's where I started all the other ones off. So I'm gonna just plan out my cuts and mark everything out from there. Oh my gosh. One of my very favorite videos that I've done was my tiling video because that was my favorite project that I've done in this kitchen so far. I enjoyed tiling, and then painting the cabinets was my second favorite part of this kitchen. Comment down below what your favorite part of this kitchen renovation series has been so far, or if there's a part that you're looking forward to. I only have about 2 more videos in this kitchen reno series before it's completely done. If you want to support the channel, you can do that simply by liking and subscribing and putting your notifications on. So that really helps us a lot. Okay guys, so I marked where I'm going to put my shelves on this wall, marked where I'm going to cap off my tiles for under the first shelf. I marked my cuts for my tiles, and now I'm going to sand down some of this like spackling that I used to fill the nail holes on this trim. I have this, it's a 320 grit sandblock. I'm just going to go ahead and use that. Back to business. Okay, so I have some leftover paint. Let's shake it up. I don't have any paint stirrers, at least I don't think I do.
Getting the paint on this trim meant that I was one step closer to the fun part of the project, where I get to take all my power tools out and get to work. I just finished
painting the trim around the pantry cabinet. The paint takes 4 hours before I can do a second coat, and I'm gonna do at least 2 coats. It's now 4:04, so I'll be able to do the second coat at 8 o'clock, and that'll be perfect because that's around the time where it's time for me to get my daughter to bed. So I can just do like a quick coat right before 8 and then put everything away and get her down. I'm gonna move on to the window area. This part here, you guys saw in the last episode, I ended up cutting into the grout in the tile here, so I need to regrout that. Every problem has a solution. It may not be fun, but you would literally never know. Like, how would you know? It literally looks perfect. Okay. I just finished regrouting this section of the tile here where I cut into the grout, and now I'm going to sand the parts of the trim that I wood filled. For some reason they're cracking, so I'm gonna have to do another layer, but we'll figure it out. I haven't had the best experience with wood filler in the past and typically prefer to use Bondo, so I was avoiding this process for a little while, but I knew that wood filler was the most appropriate product to use for the situation, and it ended up being a pretty smooth process after all. I didn't know that once I sanded it down, those cracks that were showing would actually be mended, and I had nothing further to do. I'm like so flustered. My husband came back home with my daughter from gymnastics, and she is extremely tired and didn't take a nap today, so she's just like really carrying on, and I'm like all over the place now. But anyways, I'm just gonna fill in that one corner up there, and then I think I'm gonna call it quits after that, besides just doing like that final coat of paint on the trim in the pantry corner, because it's already getting dark and I just want to tend to my toddler. I haven't really spent a lot of time with her today. I was finally able to finish the last coat of paint on this trim and call it a night before we got to the next part of this project. Are you ready?
Yeah, I guess where we're going.
Home Depot. So we're going to Home Depot. I need to get some more tile adhesive, and we need to get some plywood for these shelves. I don't know why, but I've been avoiding getting the plywood. Like, I've been going back and forth to Lowe's and Home Depot and not picking it up because I'm like, oh, I think I'm gonna get the wrong size, or I don't know. I've just been freaking out a little bit, but I actually have to get them in order to do the shelves, so we're gonna do that now. You ready?
No.
I literally got like 3 hours of sleep last night, guys. I'm really exhausted, but we're gonna make it work. I just don't want to get splintered. That's why I'm being so like girly with it. Success. We got the cut. We just got back from Home Depot. I got the plywood for the shelves that I'm gonna build, and I had to get some more tile adhesive for the tile. I'm just gonna do a small backsplash area right here. I read that with painted walls, I have to sand them down before I install the tile here, just so that the tile adhesive will stick to it. It is what it is. I just want to get this done now. I don't know. What am I doing? I don't know. I feel like this is not doing anything. Let's hope for the best here. I'm gonna go inside and make all my tile cuts now, and then I'll come back in and just get to installing this tile over here.
Marking the lines for where I needed to make the tile cuts helped me so much when using this wet tile saw. Since it doesn't have a sliding platform, the cuts are prone to being a little uneven, but the key here was to go slow and steady.
Let's see how I did on the cuts, because I was a little nervous that maybe they weren't too good, but they actually look really good.
I did have to go over some of my cuts just one more time, just to get it a little more even.
That looks better.
Since I've already had a little practice with tiling the kitchen backsplash before, actually installing the tile was smooth sailing, especially since this was such a small section of tile. And my design assistant decided to help, as she always enjoys a good tiling project.
I have my design assistant here. Right now we're at Home Depot. I'm here getting some 2x3s to build the open shelving.
The next day we headed to Home Depot to grab some 2x3s in order to build the open shelving in the pantry corner. And of course I had to make sure that they were straight so that they were good to be used.
We got the wood to fit like perfectly. Just barely fit. It made it. Good morning, guys. It's a new day, and right now I have the tile backsplash up, so I'm gonna go ahead and get to grouting. But first I need to clean up some of the excess tile adhesive that's on top of the tiles, and even some got on the cabinets. And I also need to recalk some areas that for some reason started cracking, but I'm gonna recalk that so that it can dry while I get to the grouting. I just finished recalking like the seams in between the cabinet and the wall. Should be good to go now. Now I'm gonna go ahead and clean off the surface of these tiles so that I can go ahead and start grouting. I have a new sponge here. Found this little bucket that I have laying around.
I used a wet sponge to scrub away the excess adhesive from the tile surface, and then used a small plastic scraper that helped me to remove some of the thicker chunks of adhesive from the grout lines.
It's not that bad.
I then moved on to grouting all of the tile and wiping away all of the excess grout with a wet sponge.
I finally finished grouting this section here. Now I'm gonna get to completing the brackets for my open shelving. I'm a little nervous because while I did recently build a whole entire like garage shelf system for my mom for her garage, and it was a success, I'm still a little nervous because I want this to be like very clean looking. The garage shelf for my mom, it was more of like a structural build, and I didn't have to like make sure it looked so picture perfect, although it did come out really nice. So this I'm like in my head a lot about right now. One thing that I didn't really take into consideration is that I already installed this trim piece, and I want these shelves to be very flush against the cabinet. I don't want there to be like a gap, and I want the open shelving to be very seamless. So for me, my best workaround for this is to cut a gap the size of my shelf thickness, if that makes sense, into the trim so that everything sits flush against the cabinet. I don't want to create a hole in the cabinet, but keep it moving. Okay, take a deep breath. Okay. This is my drawing for my shelf. It's very rough. So I want my shelves to be 10 inches deep, and I need to account for the pieces of oak that I'm gonna put on the front for like the front face of the shelving. Those are 1/4 inch, so that means I need to cut them 9 3/4 of an inch minus 1.5 inches. So it should be 8 1/4 inch if I'm not mistaken. Clean. Got my pieces here. I'm gonna go inside and get to assembling. Okay, here we go. It's like a bunch of like Jenga blocks or something. This is the support board here. I'm gonna cut at the trim that's on this cabinet so that I can push this frame flush against this cabinet and not against the trim. And then when I have my face frame piece, I guess it's called, it's 1/4 inch thick, so it'll actually be flush with this tile. I'm gonna mark where this sits here. Add a 1/2 inch to that. I'm really nervous because I'm bringing this guy out again, and as you guys could recall in the last video, we didn't really get along. I'm gonna try it with this. I don't know, I just saw smoke and then like something turned black back there, and yeah, it's making me nervous. I don't know what to do. Maybe it's because the teeth are so dull. Is it supposed to smoke? Like, it's literally smoking and it smells like burnt wood. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's supposed to, right? Oh, these look sharper. Carbide teeth, that sounds right. Extreme materials. Oh, this is way better. Oh my god.
Once I realized which blade was best to use, this process was a bit easier, and I was able to notch out the trim without creating excessive damage to the cabinet. I was a bit worried at first that I was going to regret doing this, but it really wasn't that bad, and I'll be a lot happier knowing the shelves are going to have the look I wanted in the end. When I figured out that the blade was my issue and not the actual multi-tool, I actually started to enjoy using the multi-tool.
Come on. Got it. So let's test it out. So this is where it's gonna sit. And then I'm gonna have 1/4 inch on the top and 1/4 inch on the bottom. So I need to just trim off a little bit more on the bottom so that my 1/4 inch plywood will fit beneath the shelf brackets too. It looks a hot mess, but guys, once the shelves go up, you won't even be able to see like half of this, and I can touch it up.
Honestly guys, I can't wait to see what else I'll need to use this oscillating tool for in future projects. It's definitely small, but mighty.
Okay guys, I marked where my studs are. This is where it's going to be connected to the wall. Now I'm marking where each of my little brackets are going to be located. I'm measuring 6.5 from each outer bracket. So this one will be here and this will be here. That's perfect. I have some construction screws. I'm going to go ahead and attach my shelf brackets together for my open shelving. I have some drill bits here. I'm going to pre-drill some holes so that I don't split the wood. Are you building something? Yeah. Wow.
After getting my measurements, it was time to attach the smaller pieces to the larger support piece of my bracket. And of course, my design assistant had to jump in and assist, as she was really wanting to get comfortable with using power tools herself. She really made sure to pay close attention as she wanted to get the technique down.
So I pre-drilled my holes and I'm now gonna install it to the wall. That's not good.
That's not.
Like, that's level. Look at that.
Go.
Then this, level.
Yeah, level.
This, not level. I don't even know. Like, look at this. Look at that, guys. Like, I don't know. To get it level, that's like a ½ an inch difference. What in the world? I'm pretty much gonna have to take this bracket down and then replace this piece with this one, because for some reason this one is thicker. I don't know why. Yay, setbacks, guys. Woo! Of course, it's always frustrating when I hit a bump in the road and have a setback, but I didn't let this setback bother me too much, and I got straight to work and built my second shelf in record timing. I just finished making my second shelf bracket. I measured 16 inches apart, and I also used the stud finder, and I could have sworn this was picking up a stud. That's why I marked the stud on that tape line, but for whatever reason, as I was screwing this bracket in, there's no stud there because these two screws started to spin. That's telling me there are no studs there, so I don't know. So I'm probably gonna have to take it down again and find some drywall anchors that'll fit those screws. But I already made my second shelf, so at least it's made. In order to get the second shelf brace installed, I followed the same steps from the first one. My shelf brackets are let's say I wanted to put like a plate on it or something, and I'm like, oh, let me stack my bowls right here. Like, look, that's a good, I feel like that's a good height. I'm so excited. It's gonna look so good, my open shelves. It's crazy how before starting the shelf build, I was so nervous, even though I'd already had experience building a shelf at a much larger scale. I enjoyed the process and got over my fear of messing it up. In this video, I brought you guys on many trips to the hardware store. I finished up the trim on my pantry cabinet, only to somewhat demolish it again, and started the carcasses of my open shelving for our pantry nook area. I also fixed some mistakes that I made along the way. Even though there were some bumps in the road, I'm excited to wrap everything up and get to the big reveal. If you've been enjoying this series so far, leave a like, comment, and be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and be blessed.